Thanks.
Test. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Keeli. Collins, come on up here and lead us in the pledges, please, sir.
All right, let's do our pledges. There's no comment. In God we trust. All right, let's do the American flag first. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
God bless you.
All right, yes, please go ahead and have a seat. And this guy's going to fire us up right off the bat. Have those 5-minute limit cards up over here because this guy could go on. We know that. But first up, we're going to hear from our Congressman, Pat Fallon. This Congressman represented North Texas in the Texas legislature since 2013 and proudly serves today as the Congressman for Texas' 4th Congressional District, where he serves over 700,000 great American bosses. He is a proud graduate of the University of Notre Dame, where he played varsity football under legendary coach Lou Holtz and was a member of the 1988 National Championship team. Upon graduation, he received a commission to serve as an officer of the United States Air Force, where he was stationed at Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls, Texas. He's been happily married to his wife, lovely wife, Susan, for 16 years, and they have 2 boys. They're right here with us tonight. Stand up, guys, or wave at least. Thomas, 14, and Mac, 11. Guys, let's give it up for our own Congressman, Pat Fallon.
Thanks, Judge. I just editorial comment, Mac turned 12. So, we have a 14 and a 12-year-old. Folks, thank you all for coming. You know this is a Republican, conservative, and patriots rally when you sing the national anthem, and the folks in the audience know the words. America.
That's true.
Say it with me. America. America. You don't have to be here. You're not compelled to be here. But you came anyway. And that's got to warm the heart. Now, it's been said elections have consequences. And unfortunately, they do. And we've seen the consequences firsthand over the last 5 months. That's why we're here. We need to change the direction that this country's going in. What did this election get us? Open borders, higher taxes, less employment, a demoralized law enforcement, weakness internationally, and a lot of divisiveness. As soon as the Democratic Party realized that they could gain a lot of currency from dividing Americans They never stopped with the identity politics. Why can't we just all be Americans? It says on the dome in the United States Capitol, the People's House, in Latin, 3 words. E pluribus unum. From many, one. I see my American brothers and sisters here tonight. And what we realize as conservatives is success and talent and ability comes in all shapes, sizes, and shades. It's the greatness of America. We have learned from our mistakes. A friend of mine once told me, Pat, the world is run by those who show up. Well, you all have. And we have a mission, a quest, over the next several months and the coming years. We need to fire Nancy Pelosi. And then 2 years later, because that's just stopping the bleeding, it's just treading water, then we got to swim towards shore by evicting one resident from one address, and it's 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. 2-step process. People ask, Pat, what do you think of the job? Been on the job 5 months. We are surrounded and outnumbered by socialists and Marxists. To give you just a hint of how nuts they truly are, particularly the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, when they passed H.R. 1 for the People's Act, it's really for the Democratic Politicians Act. They want to take away our right to voter ID. They want to make us, compel us to have universal mail-in ballots. Now, they want to have independent commissions to draw our lines congressionally. When independent commissions in California draw 42 Democratic seats and only 11 Republican, that ain't independent, and that ain't a commission. But there was an amendment by Cori Bush, new squad member from Missouri. She wanted to give the right to vote to those who were convicted felons currently serving in prison. Child molesters, rapists, murderers. Who's going to work the polls on death row? It's bizarre. She said it with a straight face. We were fortunate to defeat the amendment, and to be fair, the majority of the Democrats voted against it. However, 90 Democrats voted for it. Nearly half of their caucus. That's what's on the horizon for the Democratic Party, ladies and gentlemen. And then they wanted another one. Our colleague from across the aisle, Ariana Presley, another squad member from Boston, she filed an amendment to give 16 and 17-year-olds the right to vote. When last week the week before, she was talking about how 16 and 17-year-olds that commit murder shouldn't be treated as adults, but rather as juveniles. But then she wants to give them the right to vote as an adult. And the reasoning was because 16 and 17-year-olds, she said, in her view, are more mature than all the other 16 and 17-year-olds in history. With a straight face. I was able to speak for 1 minute. They gave me a minute to speak. And I looked at her and I said, 16 and 17-year-olds of today are more mature than any 16 and 17-year-olds in history. Have you seen TikTok? And I want to close with this. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming. But I brought my boys here today. They're going to Sky Ranch, a Christian camp, for a whole week. Please pray that they don't kill one another in that week. Thomas and Mac, 14 and 12, dangerous ages. But I wanted to bring them here. We're going to go after this, and please forgive me, we're going to go up and I promised them dinner and basketball games against each other, actually work out together. That quality time before they leave us for a week. But they needed to see a civics lesson, and they needed to see what patriotism looks like. Because these are our descendants. These are the folks that go after us. But let's think for a minute about those who went before us. And all of civilization began roughly 9,500 BC, about 11,000 years ago. And for nearly the next 9,000 years, every human being on the planet lived at the end of a spear. Because they were ruled by those who had the might. Every single human being on the planet, for 9,000 years, were told what to do by the strongest person in the village. And then a spark, small spark lit in the Aegean. And the Aegean Sea and some Greek city-states decided that we, the people, will determine how we are going to live, and we'll collectively decide. Democracy was born, but it was just a spark. It lasted a few hundred years, and then it was snuffed out. And then for the next 2,000 years, humanity once again lived at the end of a spear or at the end of a barrel of a gun. And then another spark. 1775, Concord in Lexington. Some powder was lit and a projectile ripped out of an unbarreled musket. A shot that was heard around the world. Our forefathers and founding fathers decided to take on the greatest power of their day, the British Empire. And they should have lost that fight. They should have lost that war. If they fought it 1,000 times, they probably would have lost 999. But the hand of God, the divinity, changed. And that spark was lit. And in 1787, they got together, 126 men, to write a document that would change mankind. Only 4,400 words. Men like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, Ben Franklin wrote that document. And it changed the world because that spark then became a flame. And that flame became a torch, and a fire, and an inferno. And every person on this planet today, at this very moment, that lives in a democracy or a representative republic with a rule of law owes a debt of gratitude to our American founding fathers. And if you are here, you realize something, that this is a government of, by, and for the people. The United States is the greatest country history has ever known, and we are a net positive for humankind. We need to preserve and protect and defend her. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Lady Liberty is worth fighting for. Thank you so much. God bless you all. We're going to fire Nancy Pelosi, and we're going to elect Joe Biden and get a patriot in the White House for our children, so everyone will know hundreds of years from now that the United States' best days have yet to be counted.
Give him another big round of applause. You asked for it. He had to bring the encore because we didn't bring enough applause. So, Congressman, thank you. We are fortunate and we are blessed to have you serving in that clown show that is DC at times. So thank you so very much. Let's keep this going right quick. And before as I get ready to introduce this next speaker that's a friend to everyone here, that's not a stranger to anyone. I told you that I'd tell a story in Austin. I just got back. I was broadcasting a girls softball tournament. Our Lady Jackets had qualified JFND for Rockwall. You know what that means. But our Lady Jackets just played in the state tournament. You know, Travis County and the city of Austin should be embarrassed. Specifically, the city of Austin should be embarrassed for what they've done to that beautiful city. That is embarrassing. That smell, we've seen all the tents that are everywhere. It was worse. Graffiti, and it's what's great. He said a moment ago, you know, we're with a bunch of conservatives. The idea that we're not having folks paint graffiti on our building, too, is another dead giveaway. But when I pulled in to get gas after leaving dinner last night after that basketball tournament, it's just, I was shocked. It was an Exxon gas station. I had to go to another pump because people were camped out in front of the pump, laying down. Yeah, that was amazing. So, as I said a moment ago, I'm glad Fallon's and Congressman Fallon's in D.C. So glad that it's you that's down there representing us, and as you refer to it, the People's Republic of Austin. So, read this official bio. It's my great honor to introduce a champion of liberty. He's a man that has earned a reputation of being open-minded and willing to discuss ideas, but absolutely unwavering in holding to his core conservative principles. Judeo-Christian values. He graduated from the Citadel with a degree in electrical engineering and commissioned as an officer in the U.S. Air Force. Senator Hall is a true believer in the Declaration of Independence and follows the Constitution. He is pro-life, pro-gun, pro-liberty, a champion of stopping illegal alien criminals by securing the border, and a staunch proponent of the free market. Folks, let's give a big Rockwall County and our neighbors welcoming him to our Senator Matt Hall.
Thank you. Great to see you out here today. It's truly great to be back in Texas after 5 years, 5 months. It seemed like 5 years in the People's Public of Austin. It is what David described is absolutely true. It is a cesspool, both inside the Capitol and outside down there. But it is good to be back. It's good to see you here today. And, we are where we are in the state and the nation because we've allowed us to get there. We only get what we tolerate. And we're there because we have tolerated the left too long. We've been too quiet. We have sat in our corners waiting for someone else to step up and do it. Some of you may have been there the other night when I spoke about one of the patriots that's been down in Austin that has been lobbying for a little bill that affected him and other students like him. He was in the Capitol every day. And when I showed the picture of Edgar Pacheco, there was a gasp in the audience because I showed a picture of a man who was born with no arms and no legs. But he was down there from early morning to early evening because he had something he believed in and he was willing to dedicate his time and life to it. God put him here the way he is for a reason, just like he's put each of you here for a reason and has put us through things that we never wanted to go through and changed our lives. I know each and every one of you experienced some of the things that I went through, that I got very angry at God on a number of occasions when he redirected my life in directions I didn't want to go in multiple times. He stopped me from being a hotshot football player in college by a serious back injury in high school. That changed my life completely, where I ended up at a school I never intended to go to, but changed my life, where I learned at the first day there an honor code that you don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't steal, and you don't tolerate those who do. And then during the course of the next year, I learned that you never quit. Little did I realize how much God was preparing me for where he was going to put me at this time of my life. And he's going to do the same and has done the same with you. And so you need to look deep into what God has put you through and you're going through and step up. Pat had a great statement. We are a government of the people, by the people, for the people, and the problem is the people have abdicated their responsibility to do what they need to do as a part of government to make sure it runs right. We are not holding our elected officials accountable. We are not watching what they're doing, and we're not replacing them when they don't do what we want them to do, and that has got to come to an end. We Republicans control the state. We have all the elected offices at statewide. We have 83 of the 150 House members wear the Republican costume. 18 of the 31 senators wear the Republican costume. The problem is we have many of those that are wearing that costume that in their chest beats the heart of a liberal Democrat. Because no one questions what they do when they go home. They go back to districts where, when it comes time to vote, people turn to their friends and say, who should I vote for today? That's the wrong question to be answering. You should be telling others who to vote for because you vetted them. You watch what they've done. You look at that record. And if they don't do what they say they're going to do, you need to replace them. You need to watch what they're doing. I've told people to read the Dallas Morning News. And if you ever see anything nice about me in there, let me know, because I might know I did something wrong. Same with the Texas Tribune in there. But we need to have people getting involved because the Democrats are coming after us. They are organized, they are dedicated, and they know where they're going and what they're doing. They have the LGBTQ caucus, they have the George Floyd caucus, and they dominate the House down there in Austin. We have a similar groups that come together in the Senate. If we don't stand up to them and get people elected to take the place of those that are working against the principles, this country was founded on the principle Judeo-Christian values principles. We are a godly country. We were founded for one reason only, is to change the world. As Pat said, it was a miracle. And it was described in the book called The 5,000-Year Leap, which was the miracle of America, where our founding fathers, who were not old men, their average age was 44. Some of them were as young as 20, 19 years old, 21 years old. But they reached back over 5,000 years of republics, picked the best parts of each one and molded them together into a constitution that is of the people, by the people, and for the people, with an incredible government that rose from the bottom up, not from the point of a sword. And we have an obligation to our children and our grandchildren to maintain the framework of liberty that they established for it. Our government is there to protect individual liberties, not to provide free stuff. It is there to protect our borders and protect us against those who would change our way of life, whether they come from the outside or the inside. Because the Democrats, they are anti-God, anti-gun, anti-free enterprise, anti-life, and anti-everything that we hold of value. But if we don't stand up and fight and work like they do, we are going to lose it. We came really close last time, and this is Texas. This is the last bastion of liberty. You lose Texas, where are you going to go? New Jersey? Chicago? No. We have got to hold the line, and we have got to prepare now for the next election to find those people in all the districts that stand for the principles of liberty that you and I hold close to our hearts, back them, support them, and get them elected. And I can tell you, I'm going to be fighting the tyranny of the Democratic left with every fiber of my body, every strength I have, with all I can give it until the last warm breath leaves my cold, dead body. I will stand there and be fighting for you, for liberty, and I hope you'll do the same. God bless you, and God bless Texas. Thank you. And now, I have the privilege of introducing my good friend, Mayor and former Mayor and County Judge, the Rockwall Patriot, was formerly on the City Council before being elected Mayor of Rockwall. He is a former board member of Rockwall Meals on Wheels Boys and Girls Club and YMCA, and has recently been elected President of the North Texas Council of Governments. He has 2 sons and attend Rockwall School, and he is also part of the team responsible for broadcasting Rockwall ISD sports events. Elected in 2014, he is now serving his 2nd term as the County Judge of Rockwall. Please help me welcome Judge David Sweet.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We're going to continue with the momentum. I'm not going to give the big speech right now, but I do want to recognize a couple of other conservative elected officials that are here with us. I think it's very, very important that we do that. Rockwall County Justice of the Peace from Precinct 3, Mark Russo.
Go, Mark!
Sorry, Russo, but she's prettier than you. Rockwall City Council member, Anna Campbell. I'm sorry, where's Trace at? Oh, there we go with the hat. Rockwall City Council member Trace Branson. How are you, sir? And how many little ones do we have today? He's got both the little ones back there, so good to see you too, sir. All right, let's continue here. Senator, thank you, as always. Just back from Palm Beach, Florida, where he spoke at the We the People Patriots Day rally, along with General Mike Flynn, Roger Stone, Clint Klasick, and Patrick Ern, author, international speaker, former strategic director for President Trump, entrepreneur, and political activist. We've heard from him before. He's always good. He's going to fire us up today. Give a big welcome to Keenan Williams.
Oh, and one thing that he didn't mention, Vice President of Urban Conservatives of America. They're here. We're going to take the country by storm. We're going to take it by storm so quickly. You see me with the walker, and working for President Trump for 2 years, I literally worked my hips off. So people were clueless that after I would speak as a surrogate of travel, I would go to my car and I would lie there for about an hour before I left, in pain. The thing that encouraged me is that I always thought about people that were in the military, like my friend Floyd Munlin, Pastor Floyd Munlin, Marines, and Floyd, Navy SEAL, how that even if they were injured in the midst of a fight, they couldn't stop fighting. So that encouraged me to know that I had the opportunity to fight for my country, to fight to get the president reelected, to fight for the people, to fight for my family and for generations to come. So the pain became very normal to me. Does that make sense? But as soon as it was over, I got it done. And I didn't advertise it, so people are shocked when they see me on this. But I want to go into a few things. Number one is, if you have not noticed, I'm a black man. Don't be shocked. I'm a black man, but the most important thing is that I'm an American. I'm an American. This is what I want to address with that. I was going somewhere. I'm not an African American. I know nothing about Africa. I've never been there. I don't know any streets, any friends, any cousins, any family. I don't know the food. I don't know what the houses look like. I was born, raised, bred here on American soil. Parkland Hospital. Raised in Grand Prairie, Texas, and Arlington, Texas. So I know nothing about Africa. I don't need that thing in front of my American. Don't take away my Americanism by trying to make me an African American. I'm an American. Is that okay? You know, I'm so thankful for people like Congressman Fallon and Senator Bob Hall and Judge Sweet and all of the officials, because coming into the Republican Party, they embraced me with love. They embraced me with no indifference. They showed me the truth of the Republican Party to the degree to where it made me start researching even more about the Republican Party. Why am I a Republican? See, I tell people that maybe if a Republican had stopped by my house when I was being raised in the hood is where the black people are in case I need to do an Ebonical translation, okay? Maybe if a Republican had stopped by my house and put a door hanger and introduced themselves as a conservative. At 5 years old, I probably would have become one. That means that it's important for us to do the door knocking. It's important for us to get out into the communities and the neighborhoods and to love on people and educate people on who we are. They are clueless about who we are. Most minorities are conservatives, but we were taught to be Democrats. We were bamboozled into becoming Democrats, but there's always a struggle between our hearts and our heads. I was vice president of the NAACP and met 2 white men there, and after that I became a Republican 6 months later. Because as he shared and loved on me, and we talked and we convened and we had coffee, I looked at him one day and said, "Rodney, I think I'm a sneaking Republican." And he says, "I know you are." I said, "Why didn't you tell me?" He said, "I wanted you to discover it for yourself." That day, the same way I was on fire when I accepted Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, I was on fire to become a Republican. Not just a Republican, but a Republican that was winning the people for the people. You know, I think about when Pat mentioned the shot heard around the world and how, I want to go into a few details about that day, how God was involved. Well, most people don't know that in that battle, John Adams and John Hancock, and there was a guy that showed up who said the British are coming. You guys remember that, Paul Revere? Well, the part of the story that needs to be told so that we can bring balance to America is that there was a black man went the other way saying the British are coming. His name was Whitworth Cheswell. He was elected into office in 1775 as a justice of the peace. These are things that our history books needs to share so that young black men and brown men and white men, we can all understand that America has always been about equality. Has it made mistakes? Yes. But but so is our parents. But we still visit them. It's bringing a little accountability here. I realized that not only was Wentworth Cheswell was he elected into office, but for the next 49 years he was elected. I realized that George Washington, who was an amazing general, had two black men that served in his general council. Amen. Prince Whipple and James Armstead. James Armstead was the very first double spy in America. He was a free black man who was fighting for America. Prince Whipple, fighting for America. Peter Salem received 14 accommodations from George Washington. They say that James Armstead was so important back in the day that he actually joined the British Army, so he was giving them bad intel and bringing George Washington the good intel. I later learned that the first man to ever die on American soil during the Revolution was Crispus Attucks, fighting for America, a black man. Now, don't you think that that encouraged me to know the truth about America? See, it's not the way you make me feel that sets me free. It's the truth that sets us free. It's the truth as we know it. We've got to tell the truth about America. We're down here in the South. We're given a history that was written by the losers. We're given history by a man that jumps into office in 1908, Woodrow Wilson, a Democratic president, who erased the history books. 1,500 blacks in office, and he kicked every one of them out and left one in. And he was the first president to show a movie in the White House called The Birth of a Nation, the Ku Klux Klan. He was a Democratic president. Why don't we know this? Why aren't we talking about this? Why don't we understand the importance that when America is time to fight, we come together, black, white, brown, women and children, and we stand up and we fight for what's right in America because it is the right thing to do. We have a 233-year-old Constitution, the oldest Constitution in the entire world. Other countries change their constitutions every 17 years. It is proof that God breathed into the forefathers, and they wrote on the Constitution what God breathed into them. 233-year-old Constitution. That's why America is America. That's the importance of it. I've had people say, yeah, but America had slaves. America only received 2.5% of the slave trade. Brazil and Portugal received 57% of the slave trade. Europe received in the 20%. America was the first country to say, stop, that is enough. America is not about slavery. They were the first country to ban the slave trade. And for the record, so people will understand, the slave trade was never about a color. It was about economical empowerment. But our forefathers understood that they came to America, the land of the free, to bring God where they were, and that it was not God's way. Even George Washington himself said, I've made mistakes. I will never own a slave again, neither will generations after me ever own a slave in my family. We've all made mistakes because sometimes our hearts and our heads are out of line. Have you ever been that way? I've done some things crazy and look at myself and say, why did I do that? Well, my head was separated from my heart because my heart was never in what I did. I know some of you guys are perfect, and I understand that. You got, excuse me. I leave the 100% perfect ones to get on this side. I like talking to imperfect people because I'm imperfect, but I serve a perfect God. It's time for us as Republicans to do what God has called us to do. We've been fighting the fight the wrong way. We've got congressmen and senators in office that can write the legislature that we need. While they're doing that, we need to be out here doing our jobs and building relationships. Abraham Lincoln said, my enemy would not be my enemy if I made him my friend. I have a desire for not only does all men be saved, but I want all men to experience the Republican Party. I want them to experience and know what true freedom looks like. And it hurts my heart when I see them on the other side. The thing about me is I finally shifted. I don't fight people, I fight policy. I don't fight people, I fight policy. There's a difference. So in fighting this good fight of faith, we got to decide, am I going to continue to fight a bad fight or a good fight? Because I'm going to share something with you. You make your choices, but you can never overcome evil with evil. You can only overcome evil with good. We have to take the higher road. We've got to step up in the character that God has placed inside of all of us and start doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. I say all the time to people, you may not understand why I work for President Trump, why I supported President Trump. But if you listen to me, I'll share it with you. And as soon as I get this, well, yeah, I say, okay, that's fine. You feel that way, but that doesn't make it true. See, I'll allow people to say what they feel like saying because sometimes they just need to get it out. And then once they get it out, I can put the right things in. I set a goal every single week, and that's to turn one person from the Democratic Party into the Republican Party. That's my weekly goal, one person a week. I got a few more minutes. I won't take too much time because most of you guys already know me, right? Okay, got you. So you already know. You know, ex-criminal, felon, all that stuff. So I just got it. Yes, it is true. President Trump is not a racist. And he loves all people. I'm going to set the record straight. I am the only ex-felon to be a director for a campaign for the President of the United States. And it was for President Trump. That is the America that we serve. Because it says that all men have the right to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. Because who I was then is not who I am now. We've all made mistakes. There was a point when I said, America, I forgive you, but will you forgive me? And the Republican Party stepped into my life and said, we love you where you are. We love you for who you are. And I slowly began to gain and climb. And I'm telling you, in 1996, in prison, 1996, I'm reading about Joseph who went from the prison to the palace. And I said, God, if Joseph can go from the prison to the palace, so can I. And I jumped up. And I told the guys that were with me, I said, I'm going to the White House. They said, what are you talking about? I said, I'm going to the White House in 1996, and they laughed at me. But they're not laughing anymore. I said they're not laughing anymore. Because all things are not only possible through Christ, but we have set it up through the Constitution that all things are possible in America. That's why we have to fight for America. Do I have a couple more minutes? Oh, yeah. Oh, why did I ask that? I was looking for that. A couple more minutes and I'm done. I always go on. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I had an opportunity last weekend, to really spend some time with some quality. And listen, here are quality people. This guy right here is the best MC in the country. And this is what blows me away about him. I'm like, okay, he's a judge, so I know he thinks differently. But he's an MC. Isn't that cool? He is the freest judge that I know. Well, I got a couple of the friends that are pretty free too. They're pretty cool, you know. But he's one of the freest judges that I know, and I like that. I love that. You know, I would never fathom sharing the stage with congressmen and senators and judges and DAs. But again, all things are possible through Christ. I want to challenge you guys with this, and I'll end with this. Pick someone that you can love on. Pick someone that you can pour into. Someone who doesn't quite understand who we are because they don't quite get it. Because I'm going to let you in on a secret. They think all of you are racist. They think the Republican Party is for white people. And they think it's for rich people. Well, I do tell them this. I've been rich and poor, and rich is better. So, you know, I'm okay with that part. All right? But I have felt and sensed more love since I've been in the Republican Party than in my entire life. I love you guys. I love your patriotism. Win someone to the party. We win them to the party. We don't have to worry about who they vote for, because if I can win their hearts, I can win their votes. Thank you guys. I'm Keenan Williams.
Yes. Come on, one more time for Keenan. And Keenan, you talked about honor to stand up here with senators, judges, and district attorneys, and it's my honor to be standing up here with you, sir. So thank you for what you've done, and thank you for who you are. Right? We've got some folks here in the Republican Party that we do want to recognize here in Rockwall County. Before I do that, I want us to recognize a couple of folks that are not here with us but deserve to be recognized and introduced, and that is, and they're both where they're supposed to be. All three of them, I guess you'd say, are where they're supposed to be tonight. Our county chair, our recently retired county chair, who served for 5 years as the county chair, a consistent, noble, unbelievable lady, Laverne Kinneman. Laverne has had a family wedding tonight. Let's give Laverne a big round of applause. And to her, Laverne and Dalton for 16 years of dedicated service to the Rockwall County Republican Party. Moms and dads, grandparents that are here, you've all been through what I'm about to reference right now, but I'm going to ask you to be praying for our Rockwall County Republican Men's Club president, Grant Dubois. He's not here with us right now because he's at the hospital with his little boy who fell and busted his lip. So he's exactly where he should be, but be praying for Grant and his little one, please. Yeah, I'm going to put you, all of you on the spot. Well, I'd hate to be you, Stephen, you're the only man there that's involved in it. Let's recognize the SREC committee folks for SREC District 2, Jerry Fisher and Stephen Stanley. Yep, stand right there, big one. One more time, there we go. Picture. And here we go, folks. The first time to be able to publicly recognize and publicly introduce someone that I love with all my heart. For the very, very first time publicly. I had the privilege of being able to swear her in the other night. But let's give a big round of applause and a big recognizing our recently elected Rockwall County Republican Chair, Sharon Henson. And folks, you know, one of the biggest things I think is a challenge for folks that are trying to figure out how to get plugged in. Where do you get, if you want to get involved, where do you go? First of all, these three are points of contacts for trying to figure out how to get involved. But these, Grant and then the two that I'm about to introduce right now, it's extremely easy to get involved here in Rockwall County. We've got outstanding clubs, and I do want to recognize our presidents of both of our other two clubs, Rockwall County Women's Club, the president, Tiffany Miller. She's got the parade way for her. And Edna Sullivan, the president of the Rockwall County Republican Hispanic Club. Thank you for what you do. Precinct chairs, how many of our precinct chairs are here today? Stand up, stand, wave. Between this group and that group, that's the grassroots folks. Those are the folks who get it done in the Republican Party. And as an elected official, first of all, as a Republican here in Rockwall County, but secondly, as an elected official, thank you for everything that you do. All right, let's keep the momentum going right quick. Here's another great speaker, a very, very good friend of mine, the current chair of the Texas District and County Attorneys Association, and the Texas delegate to the National District Attorneys Association. She's also a founder of the Rockwall County Young Republicans and a former state chair, that's right, state chair, of the Texas Young Republican Federation. Please help me welcome Rockwall County District Attorney Kenda Culpepper.
Well, good evening, everyone. How are y'all doing? Yeah. So I am incredibly honored to be here tonight to be at an American rally. I mean, how exciting is it that we're here to celebrate what Keenan talked about, being Americans, but also living in this amazing state. So give yourself a hand for being in the greatest state in the United States, the greatest country in the world, the greatest state in the world. So I'm not going to take as much time as some of the other speakers have. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that the sun is gone behind the cloud. Give that a But I did want to kind of emphasize a couple of things that I've heard some of the other speakers say. And that is, I'm looking through this crowd and I'm seeing so many leaders. People who that have been leaders for years and years, and people who are new kind of to the leadership position. And I know that each and every one of you are voting. And I know each and every one of you are learning about the candidates and learning about the issues. But I wonder how many of your friends and your neighbors are doing the same. And if you're leaders, you should be involved in educating those people as well. And it's not just about voting in the presidential election. We had a defeat a couple of, back with the Trump situation. That's been something that's been hard to bear. That's been something that's hard to stomach. But how many of y'all are looking down that ballot? Because I'll tell you what, as important as it is for the president and for our congressmen to be doing what they need to be doing, our state legislature, they're the ones that are writing the laws for Texas. And our county and local officials, Anna, Trace, Jim, those are the ones that are making policies for our local and county government. So it's not just about learning about these national issues, the ones that all of us have us all kind of entranced at this point. We've got to learn about all the issues involving us. We need to learn about all the candidates. We need to find out who are the elected officials that are here. Are they engaged? Are they asking questions? Are they doing what you expect to do? I heard Senator Hull talking about, those people that are just wearing the costume. You need to be asking questions to these officials, finding out where they stand, and making sure that they're doing what they said they would do when they were elected. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in Rockwall County. I got to meet so many of you, that people from Sulphur Springs, people from Kaufman, people from all over. We're having this rally in Rockwall County. I'm incredibly proud to be the Rockwall County District Attorney, and I'm incredibly proud to represent so many of you. But let's make sure that we're finding out who's engaged, we're finding out who's doing what we need to do, and let's take action with our vote. Y'all, thank you so much for being out here tonight, and talk to you later.
All right, before I thank you, Kenda, another big round of applause. Anybody lives here in Waltz knows how special Kenda is, and how fortunate we are we got her serving as our additional attorney. Before I turn it over and introduce our next speaker, I do want to recognize someone else right quick that's very, very special to us. But it's involved in the Republican Party politics here in Rockwall County, especially anybody that's ever run for office. This is a person you want on your side for sure. I want to recognize, and please help me join in recognizing Patty Maggio. She's surprised. All right, so we've bounced around. We've recognized, we've had our congressman, we've had our state senator, we've heard from our district attorney. How about this? I'm going to introduce, and we're going to hear from a very, very good friend of mine, a man that served admirably for the last 6.5 years as the mayor of the city of Rockwall. Also served as a member of the city council prior to that, filling out the term of, where's he at? Mark Russo, actually. Longtime Dallas judge, and a very strong, unapologetic, black and white, call it like you see it, conservative men. Please welcome Rockwall Mayor Jim Pruitt to the stage, please.
Hey, good evening. I'm going to be quick like Kenda did, but I just want to say a couple of things. Pat Fallon was talking about we need to get rid of one person in Washington. Actually, there's a bunch more that need to get rid of. But let me tell you this, had we had term limits, we wouldn't be dealing with this issue right now. We wouldn't for the last 25 years. So, I'm not the mayor of Rockwall anymore because we do have term limits, all right? And it's the best thing in the world having term limits because it's making me go do something else. And I'll tell you, what's important about that is that in this county, there are over 75 elected officials. How many of them do you see here with you today? All right, 75 elected officials, only 14 of them fall under term limits because of city charters. So I just want to say that in that we have got to get busy. Each and every one of you has got to get busy. And if you can't recruit people to run for certain offices, then go work for them. Go work for them. Give them money. We had city council races and we had school board races that people spent upwards of $20,000 on in a county like Rockwall. All right? Those things, if we're going to get those people to run, we're going to have to help support them. We're going to have to help support them financially. But I want to tell you that this is the greatest place to live here in Rockwall County, and I know some of you are from surrounding counties, and we love you to come here, because where else could you be at a courthouse that says, "In God we trust," is the first words on it. You got to cross right across the street over here, and we're sitting here with our American flags. Y'all have a great evening.
Thank you, Mayor. Blessed to have considered Jim a very, very good friend of mine, and definitely blessed to have him serve as the mayor of the city of Rockwall. And we're making sure that we're kind of rolling here on the fly, so, okay. Looking at my notes and see what was changed between the last time that I got here a moment ago. Let's keep it going, though. I do want to recognize, and let's welcome to the stage a big Rockwall County and neighboring welcome. Tonight we're honored to have this 25-year veteran, retired U.S. Navy SEAL, former congressional candidate, professional speaker, and public author. Let's please welcome our guest, Floyd McLendon Jr.
Hi, Floyd.
So I have notes, so I give you due respect and I stay on time. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening, and my message is going to be two things. True leadership is never sought. It is requested by the people. And I believe that God has been speaking to me, and we're right where we need to be, and we're going to be all right. 8 years ago, my political journey started. I was a master of ceremonies at a graduation, and a former congressman walked up to me and he asked me if I ever thought about politics, and in a very colorful way, I gave him my opinion about the political world. And I told him never, absolutely not. He gave me his card and he said, well, if you ever change your mind, give me a call. And in the NSW community, at the time, I was not on social media because I felt that my profession required it in order for us to do the job that we were called to do. I headed to Southeast Asia right off the coast for a couple years, and I started to contemplate about what I was going to do to continue to serve once I retired. And I began to think of this seed that this former congressman planted. So when I returned, I called him up and he started to mentor me. And this is when when I started to actively seek serving in a legislative role. And I had the honor of going to Washington, D.C. and work as a legislative fellow on military, veteran, China legislation. And I got to work with a very select few of leaders who were representing our U.S. Constitution, who were representing God, and who were representing you the way that they were supposed to. It motivated me to be a part of their team, and this was when I made the decision that I was going to run for Congress. So after my fellowship, we retired to Texas. I jumped into state politics with as executive aide for the Texas Attorney General, and when the call came in, I was asked to run for District 32 of Texas. So I did my research and concluded that this is what we were going to do. Now here's the beauty about Navy SEALs. We only need 70% of the solution. So while everyone else is trying to figure out that 100%, we're halfway done with the mission and we're figuring out the 30% on the way. And this is exactly how I attacked District 32. My team and I, we weren't successful in the way that we thought we were going to be. However, the hard work, the dedication, and the relationships we built along the way is what springboarded me for another call to jump in the special election for District 4. True leadership is not sought after. It is requested by you. That particular race was not successful as we intended. However, the hard work and dedication that my team and I had put in, and the relationships that we built with you and everyone else, it is paying off. And trust me, we're right where we need to be, and we're gonna be all right. Now, over the past 20 years of consistent combat, most Navy SEALs, especially those who have been in multiple combat zones, multiple combat experience, their leadership has been tested across the board. Effective communication, teamwork, attention to detail, embracing the suck, suffering in silence. I believe you will not find a more comprehensive leader that has been battle tested than my brothers and I, who are standing by to fill the gap of having great leaders for you. That is why it is my pleasure this evening to announce, along with the incumbent Navy SEAL in Texas, that on the ballot of 2022, there are going to be 6 Navy SEALs along with me. Arizona, Montana, Florida, Missouri, Wisconsin, and the great state of Texas. Yes, we are right where God has intended for us to be, and we will be all right. God bless you, God bless Texas, and God bless this great United States of America.
Great job, son. Let me tell y'all what, we have a mission, and that mission is to keep the momentum going. Donald Trump got more Hispanics, blacks, Asians than any other president in my lifetime. And we need people that will keep that momentum going. We need to do that. It's very, very important. It's my honor to introduce a young lady who is keeping the momentum going. Let me tell you this, Sharon, I know I talked to her a while ago, our new county chair here, and others. We have a lady that recruited over 150 precinct chairs in Bexar County and trained them. That's what it takes. That's real grassroots. We're really, really happy about that. So I'm here to introduce Alma Jackson. The Republican Party co-chair was just stepping out, but she's back, and here she is today. Alma.
And I truly am grassroots. I'm from San Antonio. I was raised there. I'm the child of people who came, my mom and dad, of course they're people. They came from Monterrey, Mexico. They came here legally. And we believe that's the way it should be. Always. Legally. I'm the first of 8 children born in America. And I am so proud to be an American. There is no country like this one. And each of you know that it's changing, and it's not changing for the better. Democrat policies are horrible. You know what's going on, and that's working in our favor because that's opening up opportunities for us to inform people about the truth. People who vote Democrat out of tradition, which is ignorant. That's really what it is, it's ignorance. I never tell them that, but that's what it is. They don't know any better. They vote because their parents were Democrats, or their grandparents were Democrats, or because they're Hispanic. When I was 21, it was a voting age. Jimmy Carter came on the scene, and I was working at a bank, and a fellow coworker asked me, Alma, are you a Republican or a Democrat? And I said, I don't know, I've never voted. And she looked at me, she said, well, you're Mexican, so you'll be a Democrat. And I said, okay. I didn't know any better. But it didn't take me long to learn. I was paying attention. We didn't have the internet, but I'm telling you, gas was off the charts. Those were days when a gallon of gas was about 32 cents a gallon. And it shot up to $1.05. That's 105 pennies. But anyway, it was huge. The price of meat was horrific. And I started to pay attention. And first president I voted for was President Reagan. And I've been a Republican ever since. I talked to my parents, I told them the difference between the parties, and they were puzzled because they'd always heard that the Republican Party was for the poor people and for the unfortunate. BS. It's for moochers. If you want something, you need to work for it. That is right, and that is scriptural. Nothing is free. And scripture says if you don't work, you don't eat. And you're worse than an infidel if you don't support your own. And I'm not heartless. I do believe that some people need help sometimes. But why are we supporting people in housing projects and buying them cell phones and all these freebies, and they go on for generation after generation? Get out of that. My family came out of the housing projects. I'm not special. What is special is America. Because in this country, you can succeed if you put forth effort. And that's what I'm trying to tell other Hispanics. Wherever I go, and I've been called all sorts of names, a dumb Mexican, an idiot, a sellout. None of that bothers me because I know the truth. And the truth will set you free. That's right. So I was the vice chairman of the Republican Party of Texas for one term. And when Chairman West was elected, he called me and asked me to continue being chairman of engagement. So I'm doing the same job without the title. And that's okay, because I don't care about titles. I don't feel important. That's not important. To me, what's important is getting our message out and getting our country back on track. We're in a bad way, folks. And all of that, as I said, it's working in our favor because people are starting to see. They're hurting. I have made a couple of trips to the border recently to see what's going on there. It's not pretty. And Democrats that have been voting for years there are fed up with Biden and the Democrats. So I'm telling you, the opportunity is very strong for me to bring them in and talk to them. And that's what I'm going to do. Colonel West has asked me to start up a Hispanic club, Texas-wide, and he gave me the name, Juan Seguin Society. I said, I don't know how many people know who Juan Seguin was. Do any of you know? You read your history. Juan Seguin was an Alamo defender. He was a Mexican man. That was Mexico at that time. He fought with the Americans for independence. And he knew the value of freedom. He served as first mayor of San Antonio, and he was a senator when Texas was a country. I guess it was called a republic back then. But Juan Seguin was quite a hero. He fought with the Americans against the Mexican government for freedom. And so Colonel West thought it would be very proper to call it the Juan Seguin Society. And we are a Judeo-Christian foundation group. I wouldn't do it if we couldn't state that. We cannot ask you to be a Christian to belong to it, but we can stress that we follow the Bible because we choose to be biblically correct versus politically correct. We cannot get our blessings back until we're obedient to God, and we're so far away from Him, folks. Y'all know that. This is a great crowd. You clap when we mention God, and that's wonderful. We need more of that. And we need to teach our children that, because so many young people are lost. I wanted to mention that there is a lot of talk about a new party, a third party. We don't need to go there. Right after the election, and we know it was stolen, we know that. There's no doubt about it. I was frustrated, and I said, we need a new party. Well, no, we don't. God got a hold of me. I am a person that prays. And no, I started thinking about it. We have a great foundation in the Republican Party. We still have God in it. We're pro-family. We're pro-life. We're pro-low taxes. We're for school choice. These are all good for us. They're good for us. We also expect personal responsibility from everyone. That's really good. Imagine if everyone took responsibility for their own, we wouldn't need so much money for all these social programs, which are not of God. Everyone should be supporting their own. And if you need help, your church, your local church is supposed to step in. So this is out of order. The government was not instituted by God to support families. That's from families, from the churches, and we're supposed to help each other. But anyway, back to the foundation. We have a great foundation in the Republican Party due to our platform. That is our foundation. What we need to do is grow our numbers and have more of us involved, working with the party. It's our party. party. They can leave. Those that don't believe like us can leave. There's another party they can join. It's called Democrats. That's right. There's got to be a difference. We don't want to blend. If we blend, what's the point? We have values, and they're very important to us, and we need to stick with them. And I guess everything that others have said, I intended to say, but it's been said. And I'm not going to take up any more of your time. But the organization is Juan Seguin Society. You can go there, juanseguinsociety.org. That is our, just check out the website. And if you feel led to leave a donation, please do. Everything costs money, folks. And I'm going to be traveling across the state, encouraging Hispanics to get with us. The sole purpose is to inform and to educate. Thank you very much for being here, and I love Rockwall. Great city.
David, you going to introduce me? Or you just want me to? Okay. Okay, hi guys. Thank y'all for coming. Yay! Hey! Yay! Y'all, first we're Texans, okay? First we're Texans. I serve Senate District 2 on the State Republican Executive Committee. There are 62 of us, one man and one woman from each Senate district. We just drove in from Tyler for one of our meetings, and I am the resolution committee chair, and we passed a resolution today to ask, beg, demand a special session to get something done. We've got to get gender modification passed, y'all. That's number one, of course, in voter intelligence.